She will only love you if you dare to break her walls, not her soul. Break her ego, her fears, her illusions. She doesn't want control. She wants strength. When you challenge her resistance and stand firm, she surrenders, not to weakness, but to the man who dares. The world often paints a picture of the unbreakable woman, the one who seems untouchable, invincible, and impossible to move. She carries herself with strength, confidence, and poise, as if nothing in the world could ever shatter her. Men often look at such a woman and immediately assume she does not need love, protection, or tenderness. They think she is too independent, too strong, too proud to ever want to lean on someone else. But the truth is far deeper than the surface. The so-called unbreakable woman is not without emotions. She is not without desires or vulnerabilities. She has simply learned to wear her strength as armor and her independence as a shield. What most men fail to realize is that this strength is often built from past experiences, heartbreaks, and disappointments. She wasn't born unbreakable. Life shaped her into who she appears to be today. Behind her composed smile and guarded heart, there are battles she has fought silently, nights she has cried alone, and promises she made to herself that she would never let anyone hurt her again. This is why she walks with such power, because she refuses to be broken the same way twice. But does that mean she doesn't long for love? Absolutely not. In fact, she craves it just as deeply, but only from a man who can see through her defenses and dare to reach the woman behind the armor. This is where so many men fail. They see her toughness and either become intimidated or they worship it without ever challenging it. They think pleasing her, agreeing with her, and never questioning her makes them good partners. But in reality, such behavior only bores her. A woman who appears unbreakable is not looking for someone to bow before her. She is looking for someone strong enough to stand tall beside her. She wants someone who sees her walls, doesn't run away, but also doesn't worship them. She wants a man who is brave enough to say, I know this isn't the real you, and I won't be fooled by the act. To truly love a woman like this, you have to understand the difference between breaking and destroying. Breaking her doesn't mean crushing her spirit or demeaning her worth. It means breaking the illusions she has built, breaking the ego that keeps her guarded, breaking the fear that holds her back from surrendering. It means daring to reach into the very places she tries to hide. And when a man does that, when he looks her in the eyes and shows that he cannot be manipulated by her strength or swayed by her defenses, something powerful happens. She softens. She realizes she has met someone who is not only strong enough to handle her, but also worthy enough to hold her heart. When you look at a woman who walks with confidence, speaks with certainty, and holds her head high, it's easy to believe that what you see is all she is. Her sharp tone, her independence, her unwillingness to bend, these things make you think she doesn't need anyone, that she is complete on her own. But what you're really seeing is not her truth. It's her armor. Every piece of pride she carries, every wall she builds, every cold response she gives, it's all a shield she has carefully put together to protect herself from pain, rejection, and disappointment. A woman doesn't wear armor without a reason. Life has taught her lessons that forced her to build it. Maybe she trusted someone too much once, and that trust was shattered. Maybe she gave her heart freely, and it was taken for granted. Maybe she poured herself into people who didn't know how to value her until she finally decided that she would never allow herself to feel that powerless again. So now the world sees a woman who doesn't cry easily, who doesn't open up quickly, who seems untouchable, but behind that armor is someone deeply human, someone who feels, who wants, who longs. Her armor is not who she is. It is what she uses to survive. The mistake men often make is falling for the armor instead of the woman. They either admire it too much or fear it too much. Some try to compete with it, some try to bow to it, and some walk away because they think she's too difficult to love. But the man who truly understands her knows that the armor isn't her identity. He doesn't take her sharp edges personally. He doesn't believe her when she says she doesn't need anyone. He knows those words are defense mechanisms, not truth. To love her is to patiently break through the armor, not by force, but with presence. It takes courage to stand in front of a woman who keeps pushing you away, and instead of leaving, to hold your ground with calm strength. She will test you, not because she doesn't want you, but because she wants to see if you are strong enough to reach the woman she hides inside. If you give up at the first sign of resistance, she confirms what she already believes, that no one is willing to stay. But if you stay firm without being controlling, if you challenge her pride without breaking her dignity, she will slowly allow you to see what very few people ever get to see. Behind the armor is softness. Behind the pride is vulnerability. Behind the independence is a woman who wants to feel safe enough to surrender. When she finally meets a man who doesn't just admire her armor but dares to move past it, she will put it down, not because she has to, but because she wants to. That is when she shows her truth. Many men misunderstand what it means to truly connect with a woman who appears strong and guarded. They believe they must either overpower her completely or submit to her entirely. Both extremes are wrong. The real art lies in breaking her ego, not her spirit. A woman's ego is not who she is at her core. It is the protective layer she builds to shield herself from being hurt, overlooked, or undervalued. Her spirit, on the other hand, is the essence of her femininity, the part of her that loves deeply, nurtures unconditionally, and surrenders when she feels truly safe. A man who can separate the two is the man who wins her heart. The ego is where she hides her pride, her defenses, her sharp words, and her stubbornness. It is where she insists she doesn't need anyone, where she pretends to be unaffected, and where she convinces herself she's better off alone. If you try to love her ego, you will always feel resistance. If you try to fight it with aggression, you will create chaos and push her away. The key is not to fight her, but to dismantle the ego gently yet firmly, showing her she doesn't need it when she's with you. Breaking her ego means not being afraid of confrontation. It means you don't get swayed when she tries to push you to your limits or test your strength. She may argue, challenge, or even withdraw, but you remain calm, steady, and unshaken. You don't run when she acts cold, and you don't lose control when she becomes fiery. You understand that all of it is her ego trying to protect her spirit. And when you stand firm, not harshly but confidently, she realizes her ego no longer has power over you. That realization is where she begins to soften. But breaking her ego is not about humiliating her or diminishing her worth. The moment you try to break her dignity, you are no longer leading, you are destroying. That is the difference most men fail to see. If you destroy her spirit, you break her ability to love, to trust, and to open herself to you. She may stay, but she will never give you her soul. True connection is not built on control. It's built on strength mixed with compassion. A woman doesn't want a man who crushes her. She wants a man who challenges her. She wants someone who can call out her patterns without making her feel small, who can stand against her storms without dimming her light. When you dare to break her ego, she feels something rare. She feels free, free from the constant need to defend herself, free from the walls she's built, free to return to the softness she's been hiding. And in that freedom, she doesn't lose herself. She finds herself with you. Loving a woman who guards her heart is not for the faint-hearted. It requires a depth of strength that goes beyond physical presence or financial stability. What truly matters is emotional courage, the ability to face her storms, her doubts, her resistance, and still remain grounded. Most men believe that courage is only about bold moves, grand gestures, or heroic acts. But in the realm of love, courage looks different. It is patience when she tests you. It is calmness when she reacts with anger. It is steadiness when she tries to push you away. A woman respects a man not because he never faces difficulty with her, but because he doesn't collapse when it comes. When she throws her walls up, emotional courage means you don't retreat into silence out of fear. When she challenges you with sharp words, it means you don't fight back with aggression or walk away in frustration. Instead, you hold your ground with calm strength, showing her that her tests will not break you. This doesn't mean tolerating disrespect or weakness. It means responding with a balance of firmness and control so she knows you're unshaken. Women subconsciously test men not because they enjoy conflict, but because they need to see whether a man's emotions are stronger than their fears. If he breaks under pressure, she cannot trust him with her heart. Emotional courage is also about being willing to confront uncomfortable truths. Many men avoid difficult conversations, hoping peace will come by ignoring the issues. But a woman sees avoidance as weakness. She wants to know that you will face the truth with her, even if it's painful, even if it risks conflict. To her, that willingness signals safety. If you can hold her when she is vulnerable, call her out when she hides behind pride, and stand present when emotions rise, she begins to feel she has finally found someone she cannot push away. The reason this matters so much is because women are emotional beings by nature. Their moods shift, their fears rise, and their feelings run deep. Without emotional courage, a man will either drown in those emotions or flee from them. But a man who has mastered himself, a man who does not let fear, insecurity, or anger control him, becomes the anchor she craves. She may not admit it openly, but her respect for him grows every time he shows he cannot be shaken by temporary storms. This courage is not about being cold or detached. It's about being deeply present without being consumed. It's about being strong without being harsh. It's about being able to say no when needed, but also being able to hold her when she finally lets down her guard. A woman will only surrender to a man when she feels his strength is not just physical, not just material, but emotional. When he has the courage to face her storms, he becomes the one she trusts with her calm. When a woman resists you, most men assume it is rejection. They see her pulling back, questioning, or challenging them as a sign that she doesn't care. But in truth, resistance is often the very place where her love is hidden. Women are not linear in the way they give their hearts. They don't simply fall for words or gestures. They fall for strength, consistency, and depth of character. Her resistance is not meant to push you away forever, but to reveal whether you are capable of handling her, whether you are worthy of her surrender. Resistance shows up in many forms. She may argue with you over small things, not because she wants conflict, but because she wants to see how you handle confrontation. She may create distance, not because she has no interest, but because she wants to see if you are steady enough to bridge the gap. She may question your intentions, not to annoy you, but to test whether your words align with your actions. To the untrained man, all of this feels frustrating, even discouraging. But the one who understands women knows that every resistance is an invitation to step closer with strength. The love hidden behind resistance is powerful because it is not given lightly. A woman knows her heart carries immense value. She knows that once she gives it fully, she risks being hurt in ways she cannot easily recover from. So before she surrenders, she needs proof, not in promises, but in actions. Can you stay calm when she challenges you? Can you remain present when she tries to withdraw? Can you stand firm when her moods shift like tides? If you can, her resistance slowly melts away, and behind it, she reveals the love she was guarding so fiercely. This is why men who take resistance personally always lose. They think she is rejecting them, and so they withdraw, retaliate, or give up. But the truth is, her resistance is not about rejection. It is about trust. She is not trying to push away the man she wants. She's trying to push away the weak version of him. She needs to see that your strength isn't just surface level confidence, but something deeper, something unshakable. When you understand this, you stop fearing resistance. You begin to see it as part of the process of earning her heart. Instead of running from it, you lean into it with calm assurance. You let her fight, question, and test, knowing that behind the wall she builds is a woman who desperately wants to be seen, held, and led. And when she finally realizes you are the one man who cannot be swayed by her storms, she lets down her defenses. Her love, once hidden behind layers of resistance, flows with a depth and intensity she could never show to anyone else. One of the deepest truths about women is that no matter how much they may try to control, what they truly long for is a man they cannot control. Control is her safety net, her way of ensuring she never feels powerless again. When she manages the pace of the relationship, dictates the tone of conversations, or tries to dominate through moods, she isn't doing it because she enjoys control for its own sake. She's doing it because it makes her feel safe. Yet deep down, she knows that real safety doesn't come from control. It comes from being with someone strong enough to take that control away from her, not forcefully, but naturally, by showing he is the one who can lead. When a man falls into her rhythm and allows her to dictate everything, she may enjoy the temporary feeling of dominance, but in her heart, she loses respect for him. A woman might test you by trying to lead, but she never wants to carry that role forever. It exhausts her. It makes her feel disconnected from her own femininity. What she truly desires is for a man to shatter the illusion of control she holds onto and show her that he is capable of guiding the direction of the relationship with strength and steadiness. And this doesn't mean being controlling. There is a clear difference between dominance that is rooted in insecurity and leadership that is rooted in confidence. A man who is controlling acts from fear, fear of losing her, fear of being disrespected, fear of not being enough. But a man who leads acts from certainty. He doesn't demand her submission. He inspires it. He doesn't force her to follow. She chooses to because she feels safe in his presence. When he calmly stands his ground, when he makes decisions with clarity, when he refuses to be manipulated by her moods, she realizes that her illusion of control cannot last in front of him. And instead of resenting that, she feels relieved. Every woman who appears to crave control is secretly yearning for the moment she can let it go. She wants to feel the freedom of being able to relax into her feminine energy, knowing she doesn't have to handle everything herself. But she cannot do this with a man who collapses at her resistance. She cannot do this with a man who gives in every time she challenges him. She can only do this with someone who proves that his strength is greater than her defenses. When you shatter her illusions of control, you are not breaking her independence. You are freeing her from the weight of carrying what she never wanted to carry. In your strength, she rediscovers her softness. In your leadership, she finds her surrender. And in your refusal to let her control everything, she feels the one thing she has been searching for all along: peace. Every deep connection between a man and a woman requires a moment of discomfort, a brush with pain that strips away pretenses and forces both to face truth. Many men believe love should always be easy, smooth, and without conflict, but real intimacy does not grow in shallow waters. It is born in the places where walls are tested, egos are challenged, and vulnerability feels risky. For a woman, especially one who guards her heart, Love does not open until a man dares to confront the parts of her she hides, even if doing so causes her pain in the moment. This pain is not cruelty. It is not about inflicting wounds or diminishing her worth. It is about breaking through the illusions she has built to keep herself safe. When you call her out for avoiding honesty, when you refuse to bend to her manipulations, when you hold firm even as she resists, you are confronting her defenses. And though it may sting her ego, deep down she recognizes that this is exactly what she needs. Pain becomes the doorway to connection because it pierces the shell she has lived in for too long. Think of it like this. A woman who has learned to hide behind strength, independence, or pride does not easily surrender. If you simply agree with her or avoid conflict to keep peace, she remains untouched. She cannot feel you because you have not reached her. But when you dare to disagree, when you challenge her excuses, when you push her to face what she doesn't want to face, something shifts. It hurts her pride, yes, but it also awakens her respect. She realizes you are not just another man who will play it safe to please her. You are someone who cares enough to risk her temporary anger in order to reach her deeper truth. Pain before connection is the cleansing fire. It burns away the masks. It forces her to see that she cannot intimidate or control you. And when she feels that, when she realizes you are strong enough to handle her rawest self, she begins to soften. She begins to trust. She begins to let you into the places she has long kept hidden. That moment of discomfort becomes the bridge to intimacy because she knows you didn't take the easy route. You took the courageous one. The irony is that the very pain she resists in the beginning becomes the source of her deepest connection later. She remembers the man who didn't walk away when she fought him. She remembers the one who didn't collapse when she tested him. And she remembers how, in the middle of her own resistance, he stood steady and unshaken. That man becomes the one she can finally surrender to, not because he avoided hurting her, but because he was willing to risk her temporary pain to give her lasting love. The paradox of love with a guarded woman is that you must first break her before you can truly build with her. Not break her in a destructive way, not shatter her spirit or wound her essence, but break the walls she has spent years constructing around her heart. These walls are made of past betrayals, disappointments, and the deep fear of being vulnerable again. To love her, you must be willing to face these barriers and dismantle them piece by piece until she no longer feels the need to hide behind them. Breaking her means breaking her illusions that no one can be trusted, illusions that her strength must always protect her, illusions that surrender is weakness. A man who truly understands women knows that these illusions are not her truth. They are survival strategies, built out of necessity but never meant to last forever. She may resist as you challenge them. She may push back when you refuse to let her pride dictate the connection. She may even fight you for trying to break through because the walls make her feel safe. But when you stand firm, when you refuse to bow down to her defenses, you begin to create a crack in the armor. The beauty of this breaking is that it doesn't destroy her, it frees her. When you challenge her ego without humiliating her, when you confront her fears without abandoning her, when you remain steady while she tests you, she begins to feel something rare, safety without control. And in that safety, she allows herself to put down the armor. She lets you see the parts of her that no one else gets to see. The softness, the vulnerability, the childlike longing for love she never stopped craving. That is the moment when breaking becomes building. To build her is to nurture the woman behind the walls. It means giving her the reassurance that you can handle her heart, that you won't punish her for being soft, that you won't run from her when she shows her fragility. Building her means creating an environment where she doesn't need the armor anymore because she knows she has your strength to lean on. It is through your consistency, your calm presence, and your refusal to be shaken that she feels rebuilt into the woman she was always meant to be, feminine, open, and unafraid of surrender. This is why the men who only break without building leave women damaged, and the men who only build without breaking never reach them at all. It takes both. A woman falls in love with the man who breaks through her defenses, but then rebuilds her trust, who breaks her illusions, but then rebuilds her hope, who breaks her ego, but then rebuilds her spirit. That is the cycle of real love. You don't destroy her. You liberate her. You don't weaken her. You strengthen her by giving her a place where she can finally put her guard down. At the heart of it all, love with a guarded woman is not about possession, control, or convenience. It is about courage. She does not surrender to flattery, nor does she give her heart to weakness. She surrenders to strength that is unshakable, to presence that is consistent, and to a man who dares to break what is false in her without ever breaking what is true. The myth of her unbreakable nature dissolves when someone sees past her armor, challenges her ego without destroying her spirit, faces her resistance with patience, and shatters her illusions of control with steady leadership. Yes, there is pain before connection, but that pain is only a doorway leading to the deepest bond she can offer. When you break her walls to build her trust, when you strip away her fear to awaken her softness, she will love you with a depth and loyalty that cannot be shaken. That love is not given to just anyone. It is reserved only for the man who is brave enough to dare.